Welcome to What is Truth, brought to you by the Southern New Mexico Church of God in Las Cruces, New Mexico. What is Truth is a weekly program which seeks to focus our attention on the truth of God's Word. Now, with this week's lesson, here's Pastor Meyer Stahl.
Welcome, folks. I had a little accident last week, and I sprained my neck, and I'm wearing this neck brace for a little bit, maybe a couple more weeks. And I did have a fall, but I'm fine. I'm recuperating, and I'm back in the studio with my guest, with my co-host, Dave Gallis. Dave, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Meyer. Good to be here.
It's always good to have you.
Thanks.
Now, today we're talking about, can any good come out of the Great Tribulation? You know, we're talking about a 3.5-year period of a Great Tribulation. Now, a lot of people may not understand what a Great Tribulation is, but we're certainly going to explain it. But before we get started, we have two important booklets that we want to share with our audience today. The first is, what kind of faith is required for salvation? Now, at the bottom of the booklet it says, do you know millions who actually believe in Jesus Christ have no salvation at all because they trust in the wrong kind of faith? And the second booklet is, what do you mean salvation? What is salvation all about? And at the bottom of that booklet, it says, do you realize not 1 in 100 knows what it is, how to get it, when you receive it? Don't be too sure you do. Here, once and for all, is the truth, made so plain you will really understand it. Now, all you need to do is call us at area code 575-650-7359. Now, Dave, you have an important booklet, too, that I love. I recommend this booklet to our listeners.
Yes, I'm one of the co-owners and one of the staff writers for Issachar publication, and it's biblical, and it's The Sons and Daughters of Issachar, Understanding the Times, Problems, and Proposed Solutions of the Day. It handles biblical prophecy, how it relates to modern-day problems. So if you'll give me a call at 856-952-7343, I'll be glad to send you a complimentary copy, no charge, and I'll get it right out to you.
Oh, terrific. Well, let's get started. I know you have some questions.
I have a lot of questions.
That you would like to ask. Go ahead.
Okay. The tribulation. Now, it sounds terrifying. It sounds like there's going to be a lot of problems. And I understand that it's 3.5 years long once it happens, but we don't know when it's going to happen. Is there any good that can come from the tribulation?
Absolutely. And we're going to prove that by the Bible.
Okay.
So let's look in the Bible. Let's understand this great tribulation. We're looking at Matthew chapter 24. And Dave, would you read verses 21 and 22?
21 and 22. Okay. 24, 21, and 22. Okay. For there will be a great tribulation, such as not been seen since the beginning of the world until this time, no, nor ever shall be. And unless those days were shortened, no flesh would be saved, but for the elect's sake, those days would be shortened.
Okay, we're not going to read in the Sun News on the headline of the first page. We're not going to read, today is the first day of the Great Tribulation. We're just not going to read that.
It would be nice, but yeah.
It's going to start kind of slow. We're going to work our way into it. And I'd like you to back down to verse 1. Read verses 1 to verse 14.
Okay, 24, Matthew 24, verse 1. Then Jesus went out and departed from the temple, and his disciples came up to show him the buildings of the temple, and Jesus said to them, Do you not see all these things? Assuredly, I say to you, not one stone shall be left here upon another, and shall not be thrown down. Now, as he sat on the Mount of Olives, the disciples came to him privately, saying, Tell us, when will these things be? And what will be the sign of your coming and of the end of the age? And Jesus answered and said to them, Take heed that no one deceives you, for many will come in my name, saying, I am the Christ, and will deceive many. And you will hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you are not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there will be famines, pestilences, and earthquakes in various places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. Then they will deliver you up to tribulation and kill you, and you will be hated by all nations for my name's sake. And then many will be offended, will betray one another, and will hate one another. Then many false prophets will rise up and deceive many. And because lawlessness will abound, the love of many will grow cold. But he who endures to the end shall be saved. And this gospel of the kingdom will be preached in all the world as a witness to all nations, and then the end will come. Now, Meyer, it seems like a lot of this is going on now. Could we be in the beginning of the tribulation?
We could be. We could be in the beginning, or the beginning could be just ahead of us. We don't know that for sure. But when you look here in verse 6 and you see wars and rumors of wars, that word rumor, Dave, is back in King James Day, they didn't have the newspapers and radio and TV and all of that, the media that we have today. That very same word could mean reports. And who reports wars? Reporters report wars.
Okay.
So you hear reports. You turn on the news, you hear the reports of wars. But back in King James Day, rumors was the perfect translation for that.
Okay.
Okay. Now, it talks about wars, and it talks about earthquakes in different places, and it talks about famines, and it talks about pestilences, and all the agnostics and all the atheists and everyone, the naysayers, could say, well, we've always had these things. You know, that's history.
Right.
That's all history. What else is new?
True.
Well, you see, it's the intensity. What Jesus is talking about here is intensity. He's talking about intensity of wars. Let me give you an example. World War I. World War I, 8.2 million people died. It was the first war that over 1 million people died. Wow. That was World War I. Now, World War II, 52 million people died.
Wow.
Now, World War III that's coming up now. I want you to read Revelation chapter 6, verses 7 to 8, and we're going to see how many people are going to die in World War III. Go ahead.
Revelation 6, starting at 7.
Yeah.
When he opened the fourth seal, I heard the voice of the fourth living creature saying, Come and see. So I looked, and behold a pale horse, and the name of him who sat on it was Death, and Hades followed with him. And power was given to them over a fourth of the earth to kill with the sword, with hunger and death, and by the beasts of the earth.
Okay, Dave, a fourth of mankind. We have about 7.5 billion people living on this planet today. Nobody knows the exact number,
right.
But let's round it off to 8. Let's say by the time the Great Tribulation comes, there'll be 8 billion people on the earth.
So 2 billion are going to die?
So 2 billion right here are going to die.
Wow.
Now, let's look at one more place, Revelation 9, verses 16 to 18.
Revelation 9:16. Now the number of the army of the horsemen was 200 million. I heard the number of them, and thus I saw the horses in the vision. Those who sat on them had breastplates of fiery red, hyacinth blue, and sulfur yellow. And the heads of the horses were like the heads of lions, and out of their mouths came fire, smoke, and brimstone. By these 3 plagues, a third of mankind was killed by the fire and the smoke and the brimstone which came down out of their mouths.
Okay,
so that's a third of what's left?
That's a third of what's left. There's 6 billion people left. A third of that is another 2 billion people, right?
So far, that's 4 billion gone.
So far, that's 1/2 of mankind being destroyed.
Wow.
So you see the intensity it's talking about. Now,
Right.
It talked about earthquakes in various places, right?
Right.
Okay, every decade from the year 1900, you start at 1900 to 1910,
Okay.
and 1911 to 1920, and 1921 to 1930, and so forth,
Right.
going all the way through, average between 50 to 60 earthquakes of a number 6 on the Richter scale.
Okay.
You see,
Yep.
an average of 50 to 60.
Okay.
Now, this last decade is from the year 2001 to the year 2010. There were 425
Ooh.
earthquakes with the intensity of 6 or stronger.
It's picking up.
So it's
Big
picking
time.
up big time.
So like you said, intensity.
The intensity is
Wow.
more.
Wow.
More people going through various plagues, various hunger, various
Terrorism.
terrorism that's going on now.
Yeah.
And it's all picking up.
So we could be in it.
We could possibly be in it and not know it.
Well,
You see? But it will last. It will start, and it will last 3.5 years, and it will end. Will good come out of it? That's the real question we're asking today.
and I imagine some people would say, what can I do?
Well, what can you do?
Well,
Really?
get your life in order.
You know, you turn on the TV, and you see this here tornado goes through the town, and it wipes out all of these houses, and people are standing there crying. Their
Yeah.
homes are a bunch of matchsticks,
And the floods,
and the floods, they're all covered with water.
right?
And I'm going to read some of these. I could just going to read the excerpts of some of the news that just came up. This was in the Wall Street Journal on May 4th to May 5th. Mississippi flood rolls south. And it talks about the flood gauges near Davenport, where the river has been a major flood stage for 42 days.
Wow.
42 days.
Wow.
Broke a record, level set in 1993 before cresting Thursday. A temporary flood barrier gave way Tuesday, flooding a 2-block area of downtown. Now, Ed Clark says here, the director of the National Water Center, said this year's flood season is unprecedented. Unprecedented.
Intensity.
The forecasters had predicted an intense spring flood season, with 25 of the lower 48 states at risk of minor to major flooding. That's 50%.
Wow.
50% of our states. Another excerpt. Mayor Brant Walker of Alton, Illinois, said his city has had 9 floods in the past 6 years, with several ranking in its top 10 on record. Costly food fights and significant business closures have hit the town's bottom line.
Wow.
Well, here's one, Missouri battered by tornadoes. You've probably seen this on your TV set. And this was also in the Wall Street Journal on May 24th. Powerful tornadoes hit Missouri, ravaging a 3-square area of the state capital and killing 3 people in the southwest as dangerous storms continue to wreak havoc across the Great Plains this week. A team from the National Weather Service began surveying the damage Thursday and issued a preliminary rating of EF3 with estimated wind speeds of 136 to 165 miles an hour, said Sally Johnson, the meteorologist in charge of the Weather Service in St. Louis office.
Wow, I can't imagine that.
Well, we're going to stop here. We're going to take a short break. Folks, please don't go away. We have so much more the information that you're going to want to know. So please hang in there. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
So great, and do all these different gears like land.
Okay.
Nice.
Hey guys, not all.
Horizon Granite is here. We'll come to you to customize your kitchen and bathroom with beautiful countertops and cabinets. Find out more at horizongranite.com. Call us at 575-650-3180.
Horizon Granite is here.
It's here.
Make yourself a beautiful home.
Hi, welcome to Okazuri.
It's our happy hour sushi fest. We placed our top sushi rolls on special from $4 to $6. And our ice cold draft beer is only $2.50. Have a California roll, banderito roll. Sit at the floating sushi bar and the kids eat for only $2. From 2 to 5, Monday through Thursday, located on University in the Pan Am Plaza. It's our happy hour sushi fest.
Welcome back to the program, or just in case you tuned in late, the topic is, can any good come out of the Great Tribulation? The Bible talks about 3.5 years of a great tribulation. Jesus predicted it in Matthew chapter 24. And the question, of course, is, can any good come out of the Great Tribulation? And we're going to look at the couple more newspaper articles. The Las Cruces News of 5/27, just a couple days ago, it says, tornado kills 2, leaves 29 hurt in Oklahoma town. And this shows a picture of an American Budget Value Inn in El Reno, Oklahoma, just decimated. A tornado leveled a motel and tore through a mobile home park near Oklahoma overnight Saturday, killing 2 people and injuring at least 29 others before a second twister, a second one, raked the suburb of Tulsa more than 100 miles away.
Wow.
It says here, National Weather Service personnel were assessing the damage, but the agency gave the twister a preliminary EF-2 rating, which means it had wind speeds of 111 to 135 miles per hour.
Wow.
Now, there's other ones here that we're talking about. Here's one for the Sun News, also May 28th, and it talks about Montana rains flood roads, Arkansas River crowds record, heavy rains closed several roads in Montana and prompted the Blackfeet Indian Reservation to declare emergency. Floodwaters were projected to crest Monday at more than 23 feet.
Wow.
Near the record set in 1984. Now, right next to it, very next article, right next to it, says heat wave before summer starts grips states in the deep south. So, a scorching heat wave before the start of summer is gripping the deep south. High temperatures of at least 100 degrees in Charleston, Columbia, South Carolina, Fayetteville, Wilmington in North Carolina, Savannah and Macon in Georgia, Gainesville in Florida. It was the third day of temperatures in that range for a week. A few isolated areas have water shortages, and these people desperately need water, and there's an abundance of water in the wrong places. The farmers can't plant.
Right.
They're in the center of the nation, the breadbasket of the nation. The tractors are on the side. They can't go in the fields. They can't plant. There's going to be shortages of food. Prices of food are going to be very high. Now, it doesn't look really good.
Well, you did say there's some good that can come from the Great Tribulation.
Well, let's look at it. Revelation chapter 7.
Okay.
We're going to Revelation chapter 7. And Dave, would you read verse 9 and then verses 13 to 17?
Okay, Revelation 7, verse 9. After these things I looked up, and behold, a great multitude which no one could number, of all nations, tribes, peoples, and tongues, standing before the throne and before the Lamb, that's Jesus,
Yeah.
clothed with white robes, with palm branches in their hands. Then I'll go to 13. Then one of the elders answered, saying to me, Who are these arrayed in white robes, and where did they come from? And I said to him, Sir, you know. So he said to me, These are the ones who come out of the great tribulation, and washed their robes and made them white in the blood of the Lamb. Therefore they are before the throne of God, and serve him day and night in his temple. And he who sits on the throne will dwell among them. They shall neither hunger any more, nor thirst any more. The sun shall not strike them, nor any heat. For the Lamb who is in the midst of the throne will shepherd them and lead them to living fountains of water, and God will wipe away every tear from their eyes.
Now this is the good news, Dave. This is the good news that God is going to bring good out of this great tribulation. People are going to wake up. They're going to see that they need God in their lives.
Okay.
That's exactly what's going to happen.
Well,
they're going to need God in their lives. And they're going to wake up. They're going to accept Jesus Christ as their Savior. And there's an untold multitude uncountable. You can't count all the people that are coming out of the Great Tribulation, so there's a whole lot of good coming out of it.
Okay.
But until then, there's going to be some bad news.
3.5 years?
3.5 years. It's a long time,
Yeah.
but we've got to hang in there.
Sure.
Now, you read that those who stay until the end, who overcome until the end, shall be saved.
Stay
And
faithful.
You must stay faithful. And I'd like to read a couple more excerpts of the Wall Street Journal here, dated May 24th, 2019. And it says that 1/4 of the U.S. has no retirement savings. Now, what are they going to do? How are they going to make it? How's that possible? Now, another one is the Wall Street Journal, May 7th this year, and it talks about Israel worries over the Islamic Jihad's growing role in Gaza. There's more trouble out in the Mideast, and the Mideast is going to blow up. Now, picture this, Dave. You've got Syria, the problems you got in Syria. You've got Iran. You've got North Korea, the problems in North Korea. Look at the troubles that we're having now with China, with trade, and
they're expanding their military as well.
And they're expanding their military. And look, one half of humankind is going to be destroyed on this planet. So this is going to be a great, great tribulation. What can you do about it? I'll tell you, the very first thing you could do about it is send away for these two very important booklets. What do you mean, salvation? And what kind of faith is required for salvation? You need just call us at area code 575-650-7359. We do have an interactive Bible study that takes place every Saturday at 1 o'clock at the meeting room at 1701 East Missouri. Please come, bring your Bible, a notebook, a pen, bring your questions. We love questions. We'll try to answer. I know you're going to have a lot of questions about what we should do about this great tribulation. Bring those questions with you. We'll discuss it. And Dave, you have your book.
Yes, it's called Issachar. It's the sons and daughters of Issachar, understanding the times, problems, and proposed solutions of the day. I'm one of the co-writers, and it really deals in biblical verse in what's going on in today's world and how some possible solutions. So please give me a call, 856-952-7343, and I'll send you a free copy.
Well, folks, until next time, this is Meyer Stahl and Dave Gallia saying goodbye, friends.
You have been listening to What is Truth with Pastor Meyer Stahl of the Southern New Mexico Church of God, located in Las Cruces, New Mexico. For copies of today's lesson or for more information, call area code 575-650-7359. That's 575-650-7359. Join us next week at this same time for another edition of What is Truth? Until next week, we wish you God's richest blessings.